Afternoon, folks. So, I decided I would just knock this together real quick because if you've been on my page before, you're a beer drinker, you know how I feel about GMO beers. And I don't know if you guys knew what GMO beers were before. I mean, you hear me rail against globalist scum and that shit all the time anyway. But I don't know if you knew what GMO beers were. And so the articles that I've flooded all my social media with today was they tested 15 beers and 5 brands of wine. And they all tested positive for Roundup weed killer. The main chemical is glyphosate. There's no reason for this to be in there. Monsanto is the leading producer of genetically modified everything. And they've gotten a bad rap over the last couple of years to the point where they actually had to, I don't know if they bought out Bayer or if they paid Bayer to buy them out. The aspirin company, Bayer Aspirin, big German chemical company. So that they could bury the name Monsanto and go under the name Bayer and continue to do this. There's no reason for any of this shit. It's supposed to keep the weeds down. It doesn't work anymore, though, because the weeds outcompeted them. Living organisms mutate and evolve. It just happens. It's the way it goes. So when I say I won't drink any of the Big Ten, this is the reason why. Why should you be drinking herbicide when all you want is malted barley, hops, water, yeast? The thing that people are missing is it's not just the beer and the wine that this crap is in. It's in fucking everything now. Remember when everybody had a meltdown because Subway sandwiches had gym mat foam in them? I don't know anybody ever ate Subway anyway, because I have never walked into one and not got hit with that weird smell that does not smell anything like bread or food. From what I understand, Subway has changed it up, but the hell do I don't eat that crap. See, I'll give you a perfect example. Pick your poison. Smoke fucking hippie cigarettes. These are all natural, non-organic, because about 20 years ago I read a study out of one of the science periodicals, because I'm geeky that way. I like that shit. And it was right around the time that Big Tobacco had to settle out their case. And they were listing the contaminants that they were adding to regular cigarettes. It was a Marlboro guy. Lead, cadmium, mercury, heavy metals, by the way. You know that heavy metals are bad for you. They also apparently up the addiction. Copper, all kinds of weird fucking shit that had absolutely no business to be in cigarettes, which pretty much are a plant and some sunshine and some water. Fucking hippie cigarettes. That's when I switched over to there. And I'm in Phoenix, so I'm paying $8.35 a pack or some fucking heinous number like that. I have extenuating circumstances, and these will be going away when those extenuating circumstances are over. But neither here nor there. At least I try to pick my poisons, and you should be able to also. Remember, Congress pushed that fucking bill through while Obama was still in office that said you cannot label GMO products because it's unfair to the corporations. It's unfair to the people who are fucking poisoning you. That you should know and be able to choose what you want to have. It's one of those fucking stupid things that only government employees, actually they're not government employees because that would mean they work for us. They're our leaders. The kind of moronic shit our leaders do while they take care of us because they care about us. Let that one sink in. Anyway, this is why when I do vids, you will constantly hear me say, I don't drink the Big Ten. And the Big Ten are exactly what you think. I'm pretty sure if I throw their names up, I'll get some kind of shit can fucking strike, or they'll come and sue my ass. But you know who they are? They're on race cars. Does that help? The other thing is, it's something to remember. When I was a kid, I did not drink expensive fucking beer. I drank cheap beer. And these days, since we're still pulling out of a really shitty economic cycle and a really shitty recession, the people who are drinking beer, and drinking a lot of it, tend not to have the money to spend on the good stuff. I didn't even have a beer in front of me today. How scary is that concept? One of you ever see me on camera without a beer? Or with a cigarette in my hand? But the ones who do drink shitty, cheap beer, aside from the people who can't afford to drink better products, the same people who eat fast food that we're poisoning with the same fucking chemicals, by the way. Fast food is horrible for you, in case you didn't know, are the kids. So now, while they didn't mention the other ones when my kid was young, I know this because he told me, and now that he's 32, he didn't have a heart failure over it anyway. It's hypocritical to think that at 17 he wasn't drinking beer at house parties. Let's face it, at 17 everyone was drinking beer at house parties. But they were drinking like some old, light, whatever, crapola, cheap 30-pack beer. What makes you think that's not exactly the same shit as this? They're owned by the same global organizations. This is why I rail against these giant global organizations taking over small breweries. They killed Breckenridge for me, who had a delicious, I think it's their vanilla porter, or it might be their chocolate porter. Doesn't matter, it's delicious. It's vanilla and chocolate. It's fucking awesome. Except for the fact that it's now toxic, because it's made by the same companies that make these beers that have weed killer in them. I don't want weed killer in my fucking beer. Excuse me, but if you can see the sky behind me, you can see we've been blanketed in by this shit that comes out of the back end of airplanes, which of course we know are just ice crystals. I'm in Phoenix. We don't get ice crystals. You know why we don't get ice crystals? Fucking hot out here and shit melts like that. It's the end of February and I'm sitting outside in a t-shirt and shorts because it's 70 some odd degrees. Huh? Ice crystals. Ice crystals should go away though, shouldn't they? Shouldn't they dissipate? Instead of spread out and blanket, it's neither here nor there. Anyway, that's what makes my nose friggin' tickle. Drives me insane. Took me forever to figure that one out too. Please, do yourself a favor. Drink local. Drink the small guys. Keep your neighbors in business. Don't... You know what, if you're watching my channel, you're probably not drinking the stuff that I drink anyway. You're probably still on those race car beers. And that's fine, but if you are on my channel and you're watching this, maybe you got a friend who's a race car beer guy and you'd say, hey, you know what? Dude, they're fucking poisoning you. They're fucking killing you. And the wine's tested positive too, so usually wine's the old ladies drink. I don't know about you, but when I had my old lady, I liked her enough to try not to kill her for a little while. And then that went beat. Neither here nor there. Do yourself a favor. Don't drink this shit. If you're gonna drink it, at least know what you're drinking and why, right? If you're drinking it because it's cheap and that's all you can afford, is what it is. If you're drinking it because you like it, or because you've been programmed by television, the commercials, the bikini girl, can they even do bikini girls anymore, or is that, you know, cisgender something or other? It is what it is. But if it's not you and you're like me and you don't drink this shit anymore, or you do once in a while, but now you're like, well, fuck that, I'm not drinking that anymore. Try and lighten your friends up, man. Try and enlighten them. Try and get them on the path. Away from the shit. It's not healthy, again, from a guy smoking a cigarette, but at least they're fucking hippie cigarettes, right? Because that makes all the difference. I don't know what else to say other than last year, 2 years ago, I had read that every wine out of California tested positive for glyphosate. Every wine. I don't know where the article is. I read so much of this tinfoil hat internet bullshit that it's just a backlog. But shit like that sticks with me because then I tell people, well, you really shouldn't be drinking those because they got fucking weed killer in them. People don't listen. But hey, I'm just trying to look out for you guys. And hopefully you'll look out for your brothers and your sisters too. That's what we're here for. All right, folks. Anything I can do, any questions and shit, please hit me up. I'm more than happy to square you away on whatever I can. Be safe and don't drink shitty beer. There's no reason to drink shitty beer. There's literally no reason to drink shitty beer. This is why we have local guys. And while some of them are out of their minds with their pricing structure, you don't got to drink their shit if you don't want to. But you don't have to drink bug killer. You don't have to drink weed killer. You don't have to poison yourself at the behest of somebody who basically looks at you as toe jam. It's the way they think of people that aren't them. You're toe jam. You don't really count. You're hoi polloi. All right? Guys, have a good one. I will have probably a beer up Thursday or Friday. I'll have to look around, see if I can find something. I might actually drink that one beer that's on here that tested negative for it. He has a peak IPA, though, and he ain't that much of an IPA guy. And that's that whole hops having more phytoestrogen than fucking soy. Luckily, I don't like hoppy beer anyway, but if you're a hoppy beer guy, phytoestrogen's really not good for you. It gives you man boobs, turns you into a soy boy. All right, guys. Have a good one. Be healthy. Be safe, all right? Adios.